The Gospel according to John, chapter 9. And as Jesus passed by, he saw a man which was blind from his birth. And his disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Jesus answered, Neither hath this man sinned, nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work. Oh, that's kind of interesting. What does that mean? You're only supposed to heal in the daytime. What about people that have accidents in the middle of the night? As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. When he had thus spoken, he spat on the ground and made clay of the spittle, and he anointed the eyes of the blind man with the clay. And he said unto him, Go wash in the pool of Siloam, which is by interpretation sent. So the pool of sent, S-E-N-T. He went his way therefore and washed and came seeing. The neighbors therefore, and they which before had seen him, that he was blind, said, Is not this he that sat and begged? Some said, This is he. Others said, He is like him. But he said, I am he. Therefore said they unto him, How were thine eyes opened? He answered and said, A man that is called Jesus made clay, and anointed mine eyes, and said unto me, Go to the pool of Siloam, and wash. And I went and washed, and I received sight. Then said they unto him, Where is he? He said, I know not. They brought to the Pharisees him that aforetime was blind. And it was the Sabbath day when Jesus made the clay and opened his eyes. Here we go again. What are these Pharisees? What are these Pharisees going to do about this? They can't eat or pick corn on the Sabbath day. And you know what I realized furthermore? When they were picking corn, they were probably in the, when they glean harvest, they're not supposed to glean the corners and something else, but they're supposed to leave it for the poor, right? And I just realized that's what those disciples are doing. They were like at the edge of one of these fields, like where the poor people eat, and they were eating the corn, and the disciples just came down on them like a hammer, talking about, how dare you pick corn? Like, that's working, right? Like, you're working. How dare you're not working, you're eating, first of all, right? And they are absolute hypocrites because they also eat on the Sabbath day. It's basically they're telling them not to eat. Now, here we go again with this hypocritical because he made somebody that was blind his whole life see, right? And here we go. It says, and it was the Sabbath day. Now we're going to find out what they start with. Then again the Pharisees also asked him how he had received his sight. He said unto them, He put clay upon mine eyes, and I washed, and do see. Therefore said some of the Pharisees, This man is not of God, because he keepeth not the Sabbath day. What an absolute hypocrite. So, you see that this is not God's interpretation of the law. Truly, truly, this is heretical man's interpretation. No, you can eat on Sabbath. Even those, the Pharisee also eat. They're just coming down on you for no reason. Oh, also, you can heal on Sabbath. You know why? The Pharisee can't heal anybody. So, yeah, this is an ongoing thing. Others said, How can a man that is a sinner do such miracles? And there was a division among them. Right? You got to ask yourself that, right? That makes sense. He doesn't keep the Sabbath, but how can a sinner do those miracles, right? So they're confounded, right? They just have no faith. Just believe, right? Believe what it says in Psalm 110, right? As my Lord said to my Lord, I will make thine enemies thine footstool, right? It's like, here he is. He's from the line of David. This is the worst thing. What I think is the worst is this chapter 7 of John, when it's talking about, hath not the scripture said that Christ cometh of the seed of David and was out of the town of Bethlehem where David was? But they only had to ask him one question, because they already knew that his mother was a Levite. They knew he's from the line of David. All of these Pharisees, why didn't they just ask him where he was born? Huh? Then they could have put two and two together and been like, that is indeed the one that Herod, I almost called him Herod, that's him. Everybody, why? Why didn't one of them? They don't even have an open eye, open understanding to even ask that one question that would solve everything for them. It's so hard. Then say unto the blind man again, what sayest thou of him that he hath opened thine eyes? He said, he is a prophet. But the Jews did not believe concerning him that he had been blind. Oh, and received his sight until they called the parents of him that had received his sight. And they asked him, saying, is this your son, who ye say was born blind? How then doth he now see? His parents answered them and said, we know that this is our son, and that he was born blind. But by what means he now seeth we know not, or who hath opened his eyes we know not. He is of age, ask him. He shall speak for himself. So this speaks to the level of their unfaithfulness. The guy's been sitting there on the corner begging for, 10 years, something. His whole life, right? He's born blind. And this was his lot, to be sitting here waiting for Jesus to come. He's actually very fortunate, right? I don't know. I don't want to judge. I can't do that. But look how just faithless these Pharisees are, because clearly everybody in town knew who he was. He'd been sitting there for 10 damn years. And they wouldn't believe anybody. So they have to go to the parents. It's like, you've got 50 people here who see him every day. That's Joe. He's been blind. He sits here every day. We see him every day. I give him something to eat every day. He's blind. And they're like, no, we need to find his parents. Like, that is like, to me, that is just, this is so condemning. Look, these 2 pages right here, because it has that John 7 on it, because this is only 9. These 2 pages right here it's complete condemnation of the Pharisee. So it's really vile, right? All they had to do is ask, were you born in Jerusalem? But they're not smart enough, or they're so blinded they cannot even come up with that question. And the second problem is that this guy he just made blind, they are not even believing all the people that know him. They're like, no, we need to speak to your parents. Like, what in the world? These are they are satanically anointed almost. This has gone beyond, like, to me, it's gone beyond lack of faith. And then it jumped to, like, stupidity when they don't even ask him, are you from Bethlehem? Because that would have solved everything right then and there, right? But this one, that they don't believe people, like, witnessing. And you know what Jesus just said, if there's 2 of you, if 2 people say it, then that's the truth, right? And we're not talking about two people, like, that know each other, okay? If two people say something, it's the truth, right? So these Pharisees, at this point, just having no faith it's being pointed out, they're just stupid, right? That's all they had to do is ask him that one question. But here, this has gone above and beyond stupid. They are just demonically anointed, satanically anointed. Because this is above and beyond. So above and beyond. Okay. These words spake his parents because they feared the Jews, for the Jews had agreed already that if any man did confess that he was the Christ, he should be put out of the synagogue. Oh, yeah. So, okay. You see why this behavior is going on? This just absolutely non-linear thinking. It doesn't make any sense, right? At all. And now we know why they are being so aggressive and demanding to see the parents, refusing to believe, like the 1,000 people that have seen him sitting there for 10 years or 20 years or whatever. And it says that they've already been threatened if they say anything that he was like anything like that. So they lied. The parents lied, and because they knew it was Jesus that did this miracle, they lied. So this is also what they inspire. They inspire good people to lie, right? Because they're threatening their life. Tell them we're going to put you out of the synagogue and you're going to be sitting on that corner next, right? Therefore said his parents, he is of age, ask him. Then called they the man that was blind and said unto him, give God the praise. We know that this man is a sinner. Oh my gosh. Oh no, it's getting worse and worse and worse. Didn't we just hear Jesus answering that it was not him or his parents? Where is it? His disciples asked him, who did sin, him or his parents, that he was born blind? He said, neither hath this man sinned nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. Okay, this is terribly terrible. Did you hear what Jesus just said? Now look, after these Pharisees just jacked up the parents, they forced the parents to lie because they are like strong-arming them. Well, the parents actually said, no, the Pharisees actually said, give God the praise. We know that you're a sinner, right? He answered and said, whether he be a sinner or no, I know not. One thing I know, that whereas I was blind, now I see. Praise the Lord. Wow, this is incredible. Then said they to him again, what did he to thee? How opened he thine eyes? He answered them, I've told you already, and ye did not hear. Oh, you see this? You see that? He did. They went and he hunted down his parents. They also told him, right? That, yeah, he has been blind. And he said, he's already told you, and ye did not hear. And you know what else? He should say, and you see, but you're not seeing. You have eyes, but you can't see. Then they reviled him and said, thou art his disciple, but we are Moses' disciples. We know that God spake unto Moses, as for this fellow, we know not from whence he is. Okay. So you know what? You know what we're going to do with that? We are just going to ignore it. We're going to ignore the whole thing. We don't know from where you're from, bro. The man answered and said unto them, Why, herein is a marvelous thing, that ye know not from whence he is, and yet he hath opened mine eyes. Oh, they're talking about Jesus. You see that? We know that God spake unto Moses, As for this fellow, we know not from whence he is. You know why? You know why? You know why? You're not asking him, you dumbasses. You're not asking him. This chapter 7, are you from Bethlehem? Where were you born? To me, oh my gosh. This is tying directly to this statement. We know not from whence he is. They are so deaf and blind, you don't know from whence he is. But you know that the two questions you want to know, they're tied, these three things are tied together. From where he's from. He's from Jerusalem. We do not know from whence he is. You know why? Because they cannot ask the right question. There's only one question they need to ask. The man answered and said unto them, Why, herein is a marvelous thing, that ye know not from whence he is, and yet he hath opened mine eyes. Now we know that God heareth not sinners, but if any man be a worshipper of God, and doeth his will, him he heareth. Since the world began, was it not heard that any man opened the eyes of one that was born blind? Nope. So that's why he gave him that one, huh? That's why God had that plan to manifest. Just for you, you absolute unfaithful. You have no faith. They have no sense. They have no eyes or ears. That's what I said. If this man were not of God, he could do nothing. They answered and said unto him, Thou wast altogether born in sins, and dost thou teach us? And they cast him out. Oh, they got mad that the guy became non-blind. It's like one thing after the other. It is just, it's beyond hypocrisy. Jesus heard that they had cast him out, and when he had found him, he said unto him, Dost thou believe on the Son of God? He answered and said, Who is he, Lord, that I might believe on him? And Jesus said unto him, Thou hast both seen him, and it is he that talketh with thee. And he said, Lord, I believe, and he worshipped him. And Jesus said, For judgment I am come into this world, that they which see not might see, and they which see might be made blind. Okay, we gotta do that again. And Jesus said, For judgment I am come into this world, that they which see not might see, and they which see might be made blind. Oh, who's he talking about? The Pharisees. They've been made blind. Blind with rage and stupidity, you guys. That is one thing you don't want to hear. That one right there. They deserve that statement after everything we just read. It is horrifying, their actions. You know what? For they which see might be made blind. I don't hope. You should know that is really bad news. He's destroying them. I'm here to tell everybody he's destroyed them. They may have not believed this guy, and they may have killed Jesus, but he made those which see might be made blind. And who else could he be talking about except this whole group of people? Because look at every action. It's like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's like the truth, and it's getting hit down the truth, and it's getting hit down the truth, and it's getting hit down. It's really, really, they've been made blind. That's all. That's how I feel about everything I just read. They have been made blind. This guy, and it's like this was the day this happened, because these things are pretty close, right? This guy, John, he's explaining it in a timeline, very specific, right? Like then and then, right? I believe so. And then it says and, right? The beginning of this chapter. So it's one whole timeline. And this thing about in 7, doesn't the scripture say that Christ comes from the seed of David and out of the town of Bethlehem where David was? So for them not to ask that one question, they know he is from Mary. They know she's from David. So why aren't they inquiring about Bethlehem? Because Mary and Joseph did have to hide that at the time, right? Somewhat. Well, not really. I mean, they went to pay their taxes, right? I don't know if they really knew about that edict that Herod sent out to kill everybody. I think it was too late. I think he was already born. Yeah, because the wise men lied to Herod, right? Okay, but this story is horrifying because it just goes from them being just, it's utter stupidity. They're not asking the right question. And then it moves into them starting this Sabbath nonsense again. The man has been made, he can see, and they're just want to just kill everybody because he did it on the Sabbath, right? They are hypercritical, and it's to the point. It's hypercriticalness above and beyond anything, above and beyond any point that has been made, any action. It's nothing. Now it's just pure hypercriticalness over everything. It has nothing to do with the truth. It has nothing to do with finding out the truth. It's just pure, they just want to kill him, and they are just going to argue about any single thing and every single thing, and they're lying in wait. This is exactly what it sounds like, right? But yeah, they that which see might be made blind. It does appear like in these past 2 chapters, this has occurred right now in here. They are completely blind. And I think that there's a transfer here. Look, for judgment I am coming into this world, that they which see might see not, might see. And that's what he'll do in that guy. And that they which see might be made blind. Yep. Letting them know. You had a chance to just believe, but now you will be completely blind. Completely, you will have no chance at seeing. And there's the allegory we hear, for those who can see and for ears to hear. But I'm freaking out right here because I think really so much that this is where this occurred. Like right when this blind guy and these people, it was at this point, they got like cursed. They're just like, you know what? No, you're all blind now. There is no coming back. You gave them a lot of chances. And you see how they're reacting. They already are after him. They've already said, if any of you say anything, you believe on him, you're getting kicked out of the synagogue. You are also I'm just gonna stop. It's too much. But I believe like this is like a spiritual thing. This is exactly where they became completely blinded and there's no chance of them coming back. They had a chance. Like we're in chapter 9 of John, and he's doing these things and he knows they're after him, and he keeps, doing his father's work. And at some point it's just complete death, complete blindness. And I think that it's, even though it's not a physical thing, that it was a complete mental thing at this point. They have been made so blind. There is no turning back for one, not even one of these Pharisee. And some of the Pharisees which were with him heard these words and said unto him, Are we blind also? Uh-oh. Jesus said unto them, If ye were blind, ye should have no sin. But now ye say, We see. Therefore your sin remaineth. Oh, that's the end. And then here we are. We have Elon Musk saying yesterday or the day before, blind people can see. No. It's not natural sight. It's going to be like, when you put a VR headset on and you're in one of these worlds, right? Because it can track, the objects in front of you. And that's one thing. But this is not what he speaks on. He says that, and someday I don't know if it's they or we, but in someday, this extra vision and seeing frequency that only no human can see, and okay, no, that's not having the blind see. You're doing something else. Wow. And how does it relate to this whole story? This is a story, right? That news relates to. But I'm going to have to think about that some more, because this really came on me very heavy, how serious it's beyond argument. It's really like the snake is talking. It's really, really strong to me in the part about, okay, I'm not even going to repeat it because I'm just going to repeat it, but this is, I don't know if he knows what he's doing by explaining it like this, but nobody else has explained it like this. This is too much. Maybe this is why he gets a few extra chapters at the end, huh? Yeah, we'll see about what he has to say. Because this expression of what they did, I don't know whether it's the timeline or he's just recording it super accurately. And it's the way the Holy Spirit, I'm sure, has their words coming out. But this is too much. I do not feel these, even Luke, I love what he's saying. But this is the worst thing that sums up their behavior. And I'm looking at these 2 pages. It's not just this 9 I just read. It's 7. It's the end of 7 that's the problem. And then coming into 9, this is horrifying. This is like the worst part of the Bible. I mean, of the New Testament. It might be the entire Bible. It's been 2 years now since I started reading it. I don't think I'll be done. I think I need to read more and stop talking, but I can't help it. How are you supposed to not? This is the worst story of all. On behalf of how the Pharisees reacted. Their behavior here, this is the worst of the worst.